Hello and welcome Strategy Battle Gamers to another GBHL YouTube channel video. You are here with your channel host GBHL James, and I've literally just got into my in-laws house after being at the scouring of Stirlingshire. I've had about 6 hours sleep in the last couple of days, and you have to excuse me for whispering because it's nearly midnight and I've realised that it's Sunday evening and there is no speak friend in question. And the reason for that is that I was supposed to be filming it on Friday, and then just got absolutely, completely and utterly busy, and then I've been away for the weekend. So I'm going to keep it quiet because my father-in-law's just gone up to bed. So I don't want to wake him up. So you have to excuse the quiet voice, but hopefully it does mean that you will get a speak friend in question. They've recently had the internet changed here, so instead of taking something like 10,000 minutes to upload a relatively low res sort of hour-long video, this should only take about an hour to upload, which is great news. So I'm going to get started straight away. Now remember, the great thing that Speak Friend and Question should be used for, these kind of shows, is either to listen to as a little bit of a podcast. You know, you can plug your earphones in while you're driving to work, or while you're doing a bit of painting. As you can see, I look fairly terrible, so I don't want you guys to be looking up at me during this video. Okay, so let's get things started. So first of all, we have got Akathon39. This is Ryan Ratchford. We love Ryan Ratchford. He's put, "Hi, I'm back, much like the specialist games of GW." Insert Tom Harrison unsubtly saying word segue. Great to see those guys back on the Palantir. Really, really good latest Palantir show. I recommend that you go and check that out. You put, "What do you think we can expect overall from this confirmed news? I know that both Lord of the Rings and Hobbit models will be made. You say it might be released in a box sets. Can you explain a bit more of this, please? Also, does this mean profiles can finally be written for Iron Hills and Dane, and maybe long overdue adjustments to old profiles?" Okay, so for those of you who have been living under a rock in the Hobbit SBG community, of course we've had some fantastic news that Games Workshop are opening up a specialist games department, which is really, really, really exciting. And of course, I mean, I think across 3 videos we've discussed this at length. So what do I think that we're going to see? Well, based on where Games Workshop has been getting a lot of its successes of late, now we all know that 40k is by a million miles its best-selling system, and it's clear that Games Workshop want that to continue, but they have retained the IP for these other games, and of course they make video games, and people buy these video games, love the game, and you know, then they look and they want to get involved in More Time or Blood Bowl, and they realise that it's out of production, it doesn't exist anymore, but there is also an existing community. Now what I think will happen is that you will get standalone box sets, so you'll get the likes of when Dreadfleet came out, which wasn't Man of War, but was kind of going along those lines, or you'll get things like we've had Space Hulk or The Betrayal at Calth, and I think Games Workshop like that. You're talking about box sets, standalone sets, which can be sold in, you know, Toys R Us, for example, or Argos. That's really, I personally think, the direction that they might try and go, and use those kind of games as ways to generate customers who then end up getting into 40k or going into a Games Workshop. So I think that's what we're going to see. I don't think that we're going to see anything soon. And what's going to be really interesting is whether we do know that the Perry twins sculpted a lot of the Battle of Five Armies stuff that we haven't seen, such as a Dane, such as Iron Hills dwarves, such as dwarves on rams, I believe. But what's going to be interesting is, are those sculpts going to end up being used? Because of course they are, or Games Workshop are looking for advertising for 3 new job roles, which could mean that we get something completely different than what than what maybe we would normally expect. So I think that maybe it'll be like a standalone kind of board game. It'll be a standalone kind of board game that will kind of go on general sale. I don't think it will use Hobbit SBG rules. I think that the miniatures will be sort of different than what we're used to. But I think that they might come with cards so that if people do want to play Hobbit SBG, there are rules with them. And that's what I'm thinking. And it seems to make sense that they would do a Battle of Five Armies set, but I don't think that this is going to happen anytime soon. So that's going to be really, really interesting. But I'm really interested to hear what you guys think. Do you agree with me? Do you think that it's going to be sort of standalone sets going forwards? You know, board games, and effectively board games that use, you know, miniatures that you can paint, but then include rules so you can use it with SBG. That will be very, very, very interesting. So yeah, I don't think we're going to see adjustments to old profiles. I don't think it's going to be a revival of Lord of the Rings / Hobbit SBG. I just think that Games Workshop will continue to produce Lord of the Rings stuff. Now, whether in the future that will be in the guise of the movies, whether they will actually, you know, just make their own versions of like Aragorns and stuff like that, rather than using the images from the movie. That's good. That is going to be interesting. You know, where they'll come away from the branding, the movie style branding, and you know, making characters in likeness of the actors and such. That's going to be the most interesting thing from my point of view. So thank you very much for that. And yeah, this is Speak Friend Question 99, I believe. I think we've got one more to go and we're going to be on 100. So thank you, Ryan Ratchford, who is actually compiling all of the screenshots of how we've changed over the 2 years of doing this. Okay, so next question is from Shen Barnes. He's put, sorry I've been out of the loop, but your question for this week is, what is your favourite scenes in the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies? That's a very good question. It's one that we have been asked before. It's the kind of question that comes around every few months. So my favourite scene in The Hobbit, movies is the riddles in the Dark Passage. I think one of the things, in my opinion, that the Hobbit movies lack is a focus on it being about Bilbo and his tale. It becomes more sort of the saga of Thorin Oakenshield, you know, and tricks Legolas can do, rather than Bilbo. And I think one of the most honest and fantastic parts of the whole thing is that scene where you've just got Bilbo and Gollum, and just the interaction is just fantastic. The whole thing is brilliant. The way it's shot, I love the riddles in the Dark Passage from The Hobbit. I do like it when Bilbo meets Smaug at first. I think that's really, really cool. So those are probably my favourite scenes from The Hobbit. From The Lord of the Rings, maybe a bit different. Obviously, I love all of the Rohans. I love Helm's Deep. I love it when the three hunters meet Éomer for the first time. That's really cool. Pelennor Fields, the charge of the Rohirrim is epic. I really love that. I've probably got quite a few favourite bits from Lord of the Rings. The Hobbit one's much easier for me, I think. So thank you very much for that, Shen. Make sure you do try and stay in the loop, buddy, and ask us a question next week, for those of you that don't know what the loop is. Once you ask a question and you think that we have answered it satisfactorily, then make sure that you ask one the following week. So next question is from the very lovely Bradley Cobden. Hello, Bradley. And you put, with Star Wars Episode 7 coming out in a month's time, I wondered if you could do a large X-Wing game around the opening weekend of the 17th of December. Well, me and Jamie could probably try and organise to do an X-Wing game. We've not played it for a long time. But a bit of a shameless plug here. X-Wing is a game that Jane seems to be keen to do again. She played Hobbit SBG with me once. She just didn't get it, and I don't think she will ever want to play that again. But she actually enjoyed X-Wing. So over on Hot Gates Gaming, expect a series of X-Wing battle reports for those of you that do like X-Wing. If you don't like X-Wing, you don't have to go and watch them. But do expect a series with me playing against my wife. Now, I want to come up with a really good name. So for example, my Guild Ball battle or match reports over on Hot Gates Gaming are called Abattoir Away Days, and my Lord of the Rings stuff is called Adventures in Arda. So I need a really cool Star Wars X-Wing wife sort of title for the series, for the X-Wing Battle Reports versus Jane, and I haven't quite got it. There's got to be something clever in there. There's got to be something clever where you tie in Star Wars and X-Wing and your wife, your other half. So if any of you clever clogs out there can think of a good series name for the X-Wing Battle Reports that I'm going to be doing on Hot Gates Gaming, then let me know in the comments. That'd be absolutely brilliant. And if any of you guys haven't checked out Hot Gates Gaming yet, that is a channel where you guys can effectively support me making more extra content, so that I can try and turn this into a little bit less of a sort of damaging biotic fit, taking time out and, you know, doing spare time. It'd be good if we could get some support over there as well. So go and check out Hot Gates Gaming. So thank you very much for that, Bradley. We'll see what we can do. So next up we've got Hobby Spots NZ. Hobby Spots NZ has put, "Hi guys, with the big news about our hobby, do you think they'll be making a mega source book or a mega source book, one to rule them all? Thanks." Okay, so a source book that's got everything in it, or rule book that had everything in it. I don't think that they would. And the reason for that is that I don't think that a product like that, of course we think, because we love the game and we immerse ourselves in it, and you know, we think that there couldn't be anything that we could have that would be better than that, like a rule book that just had everything in it, or a source book that just had everything in it, all of the corrections, the game just how it's meant to be, that then could be left alone and it being perfect. But from a business point of view, we are, as a customer base, a relatively small market. You know, they could make something like that and it might sell less than 1,000, and for a business like Games Workshop, you know, it seems like, wow, that's 1,000. Well, you know, if it's you know, 80 quid or whatever, 1,000, that's 80 grand and all this kind of thing. But you've got to remember, all of the setup costs and everything are going to be way, like, it stacks up. It really, really does. So I don't think we'll get anything like that personally, which I know is a big shame. But no, I don't think we'll get anything along those kind of lines. That's not me being negative, and if we did, I would be made up. But I honestly can't see that happening. But thank you very much, Hobby Spots NZ. So next up, we have got Josh Triffitt. And Josh Triffitt goes, we love Josh Triffitt, by the way. Hi, Josh. He's put, "Can you do a Q&A with all 4 of the channel hosts to celebrate reaching 4,000 subscribers?" We could try. Obviously, the tough thing is that Tom and Damien live so very far away. You know, it's a good 3.5, 4 hour drive down to. It's a bit quicker to get to Tom's. About 3 hours to 2.5, 3 hours to get to Tom's. But they live quite far away, so organising it, the logistics is quite tough. We'll see each other at the league final, but whether we'll be able to film some content like that will be very, very, very tough. Of course, we'd love to film more content together. You know, it's always good fun when we're together as a team, but it's very rare and it's hard to make happen because, of course, this isn't our job. It's our hobby. So, if we can do some more 4-way content, then we will do. We shall see. I think by the time that we get together to do that, we'll have 5,000 subscribers. Make it happen, guys. Comment, like, share, and subscribe. So next up, we've got the fabulous David Whitaker. He's put, "Sup guys, very, very exciting news getting recently." He's put, "I'm still going to play it safe and pick up all the toys I want from the current range in case things still vanish. Do you ever just buy models just because they look cool, or are your choices always influenced by armies you play and in-game utility?" That's a very good question, Mr. Whitaker. So do I buy models just because of how they look, or do I always buy models just because of the game? I buy models for how they look a lot of the time. Don't get me wrong, I have bought models because I want to use them in an army from a utility point of view, but actually I would probably say that 80% of my purchases are because I really, really like the look of the models, maybe even more than that. I really like the look of the models, and then and I want to own that. And at some point in the future, whether it's now, in a year's time, 5 years time, 10 years time, I want to have the enjoyment of sitting down and painting that miniature. Now, of course, there are sometimes you get a little bit of both. Sometimes you let's say, for example, with the Rohan. Rohan's a really good example. So I love Rohan. I love the aesthetic. I love the models. So because of that, I then theorise a list which I think is going to be quite effective, and that includes Outriders and stuff like that. Now, I love Outrider models, but I want them in the game. Same with Sons of Ale. So usually, probably a bit of a mixture of both, but I do always, I buy models just because I love them, and they, one day you can come to my man cave and you can see my stash. So that, if that's not a decent invite, I don't know what is. Okay, so cheers for that, David Whittaker. So next up, we have got God of Gods. He's put, hey GBHL. I've been commenting a lot later, but it would be cool if you guys did a 2 versus 2 battle with 4 different army factions and have James and Jamie battle Tom and Damien. So thank you very much for that, God of Gods. Now, we have actually done this before. So the 4 of us managed to get together and we did a Battle of the Black Gate. If you YouTube search Battle of the Black Gate and watch that, you had the 4 of us together. And that was Damien and I versus Tom and Jamie, and it was great fun. Really, really good battle report, very well edited. The person who edited that did a great job. And obviously who filmed it did a really, really good job. It's a great battle report, and one of the best things about it is, of course, you've got the 4 of us, and the 4 of us are interacting and having a good laugh. And again, it's similar to the question that Josh Triffitt put. The tough thing is getting the 4 of us together and having the time to do that. It's not easy. But if we can ever do a 2v2 again, then we will do. I think we made an agreement quite early on that what we didn't want to do was to make it, I know that the guys like referring to GBHL North and GBHL South, but I'm not a fan of that. If you're a team, you're a team. And very much didn't want it to be kind of like North versus South or bringing our competitive armies or anything like that. It's more about, you've got the interaction between the hosts, and it's not about, trying to beat each other. It's trying to create a story on the battlefield and, present something which is entertaining and looks really nice. I don't think people would like to watch us all being gamey with each other. But yeah, go and check out Battle of Blackgate. It's a good battle report, God of Gods. And thanks for all your support lately as well, because you have been commenting loads. Okay, so next up we have got John McConnell. And John McConnell has put a number of speculations about the new Games Workshop specialist games here. So you can see this is definitely the hot topic at the moment. There'll be a lot of questions about this, I think, in the coming weeks. As you have noted, the middle of hiring listings likely means we'll have to wait a while for something new. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get anything until way into end of next year, maybe. You put that given, do you think we'll see a very occasional, like every other year, large box like the Escape from Goblin Town, or something smaller more often? I'd be happy to see anything that included new plastic models replacing out of production metal or resin castings. What would you rather see? I think that we will get boxes that will be priced around the £60 to £75. I don't think it'll be quite as big as Escape from Goblin Town, but it'll be that same kind of principle, I think. But I don't think it will get sort of, I don't know, I mean, I honestly don't know, I have no insight. Pure speculation. Like I was saying before, I think that it will be more that they will create models and board game rules, and it will stand alone. And yeah, they'll sell them in Games Workshops, but it will be more for a bigger market to try and bring them into Games Workshop. So I don't think that we'll see like individual clamp packs and things. But I've been wrong many, many times in the past. So who knows? Who knows? I don't think we'll see new plastics replacing old metal or resin castings. I don't think that will happen. So next up, we've got Jeremy Smith. Hello, Jeremy Smith. I hope you're well, buddy. You put 99 down and 1 to go. That's right. So I think Jeremy Smith, have you asked a question in every single Speak Friendly question since it existed? There's a bit of Speak Friendly question trivia. No idea. You put asking questions, giving banter, meeting new friends. Now that's what I call a show. Absolutely agree. And yeah, meeting you in the US of A was brilliant as well, Jeremy. Thanks so much for all your support since the channel started. Obviously we wouldn't be able to do this without you guys wanting to watch it and having an appetite to see the videos, and so keep that up, guys, and thank you very much, Jeremy. Okay, so next up we've got the fabulous Harry Moore. We love Harry Moore, he's a good friend of Jamie's. Last saw him at Redos. You put, hey James and Jamie, great content as always. Thank you very much, Harry. This is my first post and question on Speak Friendly Question, and so I'm going to try and make it a good one. Yeah, I didn't think you'd been here before. Welcome to the show. But I had a chat with Jamie the other day about creating different narratives for a series of effective and exciting battle reports. I know you guys have already created some popular battle report series such as Battle Companies and Deadliest Warbands. Do you have ideas for any future BatRep series? I understand that different aspects have to be taken into account when planning, such as model availability and of course time, but I'm sure there are plenty of people in the GBHL community who would be happy to get involved and provide models if needed. Food for thought anyhow. Well, absolutely, certainly. Jamie and I have discussed there are things that we have discussed about doing on this channel which just have never ever happened, just because of time. I mean, that's the thing. That's why, really when Jamie left Lego with the Patreon, but he has a job now, he works for Steamforged, but the idea really was that he would be able to put more time into doing content, which I suppose he has done more since he left Lego, and it's one of the reasons why I've started Hot Gates Gaming as well, because it's just having the time, it's being able to afford to give the time, that's the thing. So yeah, we've discussed doing loads of series, there's tons of things in the backlog, and doing narrative style battle report that you watch as a series over time. I've got it written. I have a Rohan narrative campaign written out. I have all the models for it ready, and I need probably about a day or 2 days where I just constantly film and get all of that done, because you need to get it done in one go. You need to at least film it in one go, then get it all uploaded, so then you can be guaranteed a release on a set day, a set time, and so you can stay in the story. So do expect those. It's something that I really want to do at Hot Gates Gaming. Obviously that's something that I'm going to be looking at, and not just for Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. So I'm sure you'll see things like that on here in the future, no doubt about it. Great first question, and Harry, you're now in the loop, so buddy, you've got to ask a question next week, that's the rule. Okay, so next up we've got Resco Nesco. He's put, right, I've missed the last couple due to the amount of work I've been having to do, but don't worry, I am back. It's good to have you back. What's your favourite piece of non-wargaming Lord of the Rings Hobbit merchandise that you own? That is a really good question. Favourite piece of non-wargaming Lord of the Rings Hobbit merchandise that I own? Well, I am really, I love, I don't know if you can count it as merchandise, because I mean, if you could count it as merchandise, you would say just the extended Lord of the Rings trilogy box set is just a tremendous, it's one of the most valuable things that I own. Honestly, I love that. I can watch the bonus footage, all the appendices, DVDs, I can watch them over and over and over again. But I'm not sure you could call that merchandise. I really like the movie poster from the Fellowship that Neil, one of the lads who works for me, that his girlfriend gave to me, which is signed by Elijah Wood. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go for that. That is pretty cool. I do like my Riders of Rohan t-shirt as well. Riders of the Riddermark. It's very kind of Sons of Anarchy. That's pretty cool. I like that. So yeah, good question, Resco Nesco. Make sure you ask one next week, and I hope work isn't too busy. Okay, so next up, we've got a question from Dewey Evans. Dewey Evans puts, "Hi guys, after hearing the news we all wanted to hear with the future opening of the Specialist Design Studio, where do you think unreleased miniatures stand, and do you think GW will try to change what they are doing? Or do you think GW will bring out rival models, as they are models for profiles that were never made? Thanks again." Well, I mean, Games Workshop must be aware that this is happening, and it's, to be fair, it's whether it be Games Workshop have got a history of being incredibly protective of IP that they own, like, and they have a history, you know, of really protecting it. That is effectively what their lawyers department do, are just constantly sending out cease and desists. But I'm not sure whether it will be Games Workshop that gets there first, or whether it'll actually be New Line themselves, and actually, you know, the movie side of things, because of course they're copying off a movie likeness. I can't see. I mean, it's tough. I don't know how if they just do it all through Facebook, or like if they have their addresses listed or anything like that. I mean, it might be quite hard to actually do anything about it. You know, if they do it all through Facebook, then I'm not really sure how Games Workshop would sort of fathom it out, as it were. But I, to be fair, I can't see it not being a problem. Yeah, I can't see it not being a problem. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens with those guys. So next up, we have got Tai Matsushita. Tai Matsushita has put, "Hey guys, my question for this week is about might in the game. Do you think the game would benefit from having more varying levels of might amongst the heroes? Cheap 1 might lieutenants like in battle companies, or upping some of the bigger hitters to 4 or 5 might? After all, I think the hero stats are what really give the game its flavours, and right now there is not that much variation through all the different armies. Thanks, as always, thanks for all your hard work." Yeah, to be fair, that is something that, okay, so there's a couple of things that I would change if I was sort of evolving the game going forward. One would be the rescaling of fight value, making it up to 12, and rescaling a lot of the armies. So like Numenorians would be fight 5, Elves would be fight 6. That means that certain heroes would be fight 7 or fight 8, and things that are fight 10 now would be fight 12, and sort of rescaling everything really. But another thing would be to mix it up on the might front. I mean, it obviously works quite well, but I know what you mean. It is a game of heroes, and it's quite surprising that really, like, if it's a shaman kind of profile, it's got 1 might usually, you know, and if it's 1-3-1 or 1-4-1, that kind of thing. A captain's obviously 2-1-1, and most of the big heroes are 3-3-3, or you get a step down from that. If you've got a named captain, effectively it's 3-1-1. So yeah, I mean, the only real kind of exception, you got like your Boromirs with 6 might. I am surprised that there isn't anything that's got 4 might or 5 might. I mean, I guess the closest is, I mean, there might be things. Is there something with 4 might? Is there? I think there is, but yeah, I'm quite surprised that that there isn't actually sort of more things with 4 and 5 might. I thought that we would see some of that kind of thing, but you know, it does work quite well in the game. You know, it does work. So, but yeah, I agree with you. That's quite an interesting one to put back to you guys. I mean, if you're gonna rescale sort of might, and if you were going to change how much might people have, like who would you give 4 might, who would you give 5 might to? Put it in the comments for next week. So thank you very much for a really good question there, Tai Matsushita. So next up we've got Morton Thurup Kudau. I think I probably said your name wrong, buddy, so let me know how to pronounce it next week. You put, I watched your Orc Raid episode of Battle Companies the other day, and it was truly one of the greats. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed like filming and narrating that for the guys. It was so much fun. Just the terrain was beautiful and the models were beautiful. Of course, because they didn't have to focus on kind of like filming, I could really get in and try and get the shots and try and sort of tell the story. You know, and obviously those guys were really loving the game. So much fun. That day was so much fun for all of us. It was great. But I'm wondering how you come up with the scenarios when you stray from those in Battle Companies rules. Do you base the scenarios or anything, or just make them up yourself? And do you play test them first, or just wing it on camera? I must know details, as I want my future Battle Companies games to be as fun as possible. To be perfectly honest, what we do is we wing it. We try and come up with a story first of all, so it's like, okay, so what is this battle company and what's their reason for things, and we don't play test the scenarios, we just have a kind of rough idea. That's one of the good things about having like Tom and Damien involved in particular, is because they've done a lot of like those kind of scenarios, those old scenarios, and Jamie's really good with like the battle companies things. He's got good, you know, a good knowledge of some of those old scenarios as well. I'd be nowhere near as knowledgeable on whether something was balanced or not, but it's kind of just having a gist for, you know, how many turns should this last, and not making it so that it's impossible for the company, but not sort of feeding them too easy games, because that then can be a bit boring as well. You want it to be entertaining, so yeah, we do kind of wing it, and we wing it and try and make it so it kind of fits the scenario, and then so we make the scenario fit the story, and then we make the story kind of fit the scenario as well. So yeah, we do definitely wing it, and we definitely don't play test. We don't get time to play test, unfortunately. One day maybe. So thank you very much for that, Morton. Next up we got Michael Purcell. He's put, hey guys, just trying to get some inspiration for a gaming board I was going to make, tossing up between a battlefield outside of Moria in an unexpected journey, or an outpost in Mordor. Any thoughts would be great. Ooh. So battlefield outside of Moria. So what would you do? Would you do it on? Would you do it at the east gate, or would you go for the west gate? Because that's obviously going to depend what you've got. I mean, if you can check out SBG magazine episode 2, you've got their Battle of Anuzalabala, which I'm always impressed that Damien can just say like that. The Battle of Eastgate, as I call it. You can see some of the terrain that they used for that, and that might give you a bit of inspiration. I think basically just using lots of rock moulds from sort of miniature railway terrain making things, lots of rock moulds, and then he made the gate itself, and that looked really cool. And you probably want about five or six sort of modular terrain pieces that you can just pop on, and you can make it different every single time. You don't want something which is attached to the board, because otherwise you're playing the same kind of terrain each game, which isn't as fun. Always good to just have a few kind of like standalone trees and things, not necessarily like patches of trees. Just kind of mix it up, I would say. Or, you know, if you're going to go for the west gate, then you can have all the pool, and you can have like the little path that goes round the side, and you can have obviously the hidden gate. You could have like a watcher. You could have like a watcher on there. That'd be really cool. I think it'd be harder to play on that, but I think it'd be cool to look at. So yeah, I hope that helps. But let us know what decision you make. That'd be cool. So next up, we've got Ethical SOB. He has put, first, I want to give a huge thank you to you guys. I have no doubt that your work in keeping this hobby growing and fun would have been taken into consideration by Games Workshop, and now we have the awesome news that our hobby will have new stuff coming out. Dane and Armoured Azog, fingers crossed. So just a big thank you to you guys. My question is a simple one. What characters in the source books would you love to see have updated profiles, and what would you change on those profiles? Well, that's very, very flattering. It's been wonderful to be a part of this. Of course, it's not just down to the podcast. The YouTube channel has been brilliant for showing people that there is enthusiasm, and that there are people playing the game, and also encouraging, keeping people who aren't getting to play that often in the hobby, because they're getting to experience their hobby through watching this. So if they've not got a regular opponent, then they can just put the channel on and they can paint and hear people talking about it. So that's been good. And one of the most common messages we get is that, I used to play the game and I thought it was dead, and then I came across the YouTube channel and now I've got back into it, and look at the growing community. Now, I don't think that Games Workshop's decision is based on what we've done, or I don't think it's based on our community at all. But I don't know, but I don't think it's to do with that. It's not a case that they'll have looked at it and gone, oh wow, look, this is building back up. It will be a business decision based on using a known intellectual property that is very popular, and using it as a form of not just revenue generator, but a lead generator to other products and access to market, as it were. So I think that's going to be. I think that's going to be more the way that it's going to be. To be honest, I don't think it's got anything to do with. I don't think it's got anything to do with what they've seen that we've been doing. Although it is obviously nice that that we have been involved in sort of bringing people together, really. And of course the Great British Hobbit League itself, and all of those TOs out there that run amazing tournaments and stuff. They've all been great as well. So, and now it's spreading, and there's about 20 million YouTube channels doing this. I think there was only like LOTR SBG battles over in Denver before this, so yeah, it's really cool. And in terms of what characters I'd love to see updated, well, I think that Aragorn should be fight 7. I think Knight of Pelennor should be fight 6. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see a special rule for Theoden that just made him a bit more viable. So even if it was like a 12-inch stand fast, or like a special rule that that he could call a free heroic combat on his first charge or something like that, or something along those lines. Or that like he counted as a banner for Riders of Rohan. That would be cool. I'd like to see that. I would like to see captains of Dol Amroth should be fight 5. I think that Númenóreans could do with some more options. I think they should be fight 5 as well, to be honest. Elves fight 6. Some more options for Númenóreans and Old Rivendell. That would be cool. Just some of those things where you just think, like, if something is a given, if something is a bit... I think that Felbeasts should be more expensive, because they're just so good. So easily, like, even another extra 20 points would probably make sense. What else would I like to see? What else would I like to see? Beorn being a little bit cheaper would be good, just a little bit, a smidgen. If he was 20 points cheaper, then you'd probably take him a lot more. What else? What would I like to see? I would like to see something which affected Fury. I think that Fury shouldn't be like normal Fury. Should be for just the turn, and for a turn, everything within 6 doesn't have to take courage tests, and everything within 6 doesn't have to take courage tests, and everything within 6 doesn't have to take courage tests, and everything within 6 doesn't have to take courage tests, and everything within 6 doesn't have to take courage tests, and everything within 6 doesn't have to take courage tests, and everything within 6 doesn't have to take courage tests, and everything within 6 doesn't have to take courage tests, and everything within 6 doesn't have to take courage tests, and everything within 6 doesn't have to take courage tests, and everything within 6 doesn't have to take courage tests, and everything within 6 doesn't have to take courage tests, and everything within 6 doesn't have to take courage tests, and everything within 6 doesn't have to take courage tests, and everything within 6 doesn't have to take courage tests, and everything within 6 doesn't have to take courage tests, and everything within you know, you get a special fate at 6. I think that would be fine, and the channeled version should make it last, you know, until you're out of fate or die, rather than it being a 5+. I think that would make a bit more sense. That would make a lot more sense, I think. So yeah, just a few things like that, really. I can't really think of any others off the top of my head. So yeah, that's a big question. I should make a list, really. So thank you very, 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 very much, Ethical SOB. So next up we've got, I can't shout it out because I can hear my father-in-law upstairs, so I'm really sorry I'm whispering. So, has put, thanks for last week's Speak Friend in question. Absolute pleasure. I love the idea of using the mechanics for might generation in a game. For e.g., if a hero kills another hero in combat, rolls a d6, and on a 5+, they get a might point back. 3+ if they kill the enemy general or a monster. This would encourage more heroic gameplay, perhaps from heroes, and add a new element to the gameplay, as right now it's easy to math hammer when someone is out of might to pull off those late game combos. I think some kind of might replenishment mechanic would change the late game. Yeah, I think that would be cool. So we were discussing last week about one of the best things about Guild Boys, how you generate like momentum. So you get momentum by doing sort of certain damage and the like. So yeah, I think things like if you, I don't know how you get it into SBG, but yeah, if your hero kills 3 troops, or 3 warriors, then you gain a might point. But then you might as well you heroic combat, and then it's a given you'll always heroic combat then. I don't know how you would do it. I'd probably need to sit down and really think about it, but I do like the idea that you get that. But I even like it just in terms of priority. So even if it wasn't getting might back, if there were certain triggers in the game that gave you effectively a point of momentum, so that when you do your priority roll, let's say that you'd gain 3, then you're going to get +3 on your priority roll, and they got 1, so they're going to get +1, so there's a 2 difference. I think that would work quite well. Okay, so on to business, as I am stuck in a loop and must keep going round and around. Well, yes, you must. Question. You've been magically transported to Middle-earth and await to find yourself as a steward of Minas Tirith during the War of the Ring. Around the time you are about to get a Hobbit to sing you for your dinner pleasures. You're now in charge of the defence of the city. What tactic would you employ to avert the disaster that fell the White City during the siege? E.g., I'd have had my engineers dig covered trenches that would allow infantry to walk over but collapse under the weight of siege engines' towers to at least slow down or partially stop the siege towers. Also, I never understood the fondness for defending gates. Pile up bloody rubble behind the gates, the most weak of all defence points, or just build some barricades in front of the gates of rubble, to prevent easy ramming. I tell you, give me a castle and I'll hold that bloody thing. Well, if you think about it, if you look at castles through history, the reason why castles were designed was so that you could have a very, very small number of defenders, a very, very small garrison that could hold out against much, much, much greater numbers. So actually, you look at the defence of Minas Tirith, and you think, well, actually, there's an awful lot of them. If you get that situation in history real, the enemy would probably not assault Minas Tirith, would they? They would probably siege it against that number of defenders with such sophisticated looking defences. But I think when you watch that for Minas Tirith, you have to look at it in a bit more of an abstract way. But I am like you. I do love history, and I do love learning about castle defences and things that attackers did, like to undermine walls and all the tunnelling that went on and all that kind of stuff, and like counter tunnels and all kinds of things. So it is fascinating. But yeah, I mean, I think I probably would have made more of an effort to ensure that Oskiliev, was better defended as well. Obviously would have got my allies Rohan and all of the fiefdoms mobilised much sooner. So yeah, anyway, that's a really good question, Wild. Thank you very much. So we've got a few more questions. While you've also put, with regards to your comment about last week's Speak Friendly question being for newer players, I'm long in the tooth but actually still love watching the show. It's, in its very own way, as endearing to me as the Palantir, and at the end of the day, to North. I love seeing the interaction between various GBHL hosts, and more chance of seeing guests on this show versus the Palantir. That's true. It's probably not as good when it's me, like early hours of Monday morning after a tournament. But just want to make sure you guys get some content, even, so we can go on to episode 100 next week. Yeah, I mean, that's just our kind of perception. The way that we see it is that, on this show you get a lot of people asking similar questions, but I also think one of the best things about this show, Palantir does it as well with their comment review, but it's the opportunity for our subscribers to directly interact with us and for us to directly interact back through a video. So yeah, I know what you mean. It's not the same for everybody. But thank you very much for the kind words there, War. So next up we have Lord Draconum. Lord Draconum has put, great content, keep up the good work, back to the painting table I go. That's great news. Hope you get lots of painting done to this one, guys. Next up after that we've got Jericho Jackson. He's put, hey guys, I was wondering what do you think will happen with the community FAQ now that Games Workshop has seemingly revived their support for SBG. I think that, like I say, I think that, in my opinion, we're not going to be seeing SBG releases. I think you'll get box sets and there'll be miniatures in there, of which there'll be rules that you can then use for SBG. But I think the SBG itself, as a rules thing, will just kind of be left alone. I don't think that we'll be seeing more FAQ stuff for that, and I think that they'll be quite happy just to leave the community FAQ there. That's my personal opinion. So thank you very much, Jericho. Next up we've got Sean Shaw. He's put, hi guys, being inspired by you guys to maybe do a little bit of a Battle Companies campaign. Yeah, it's good fun. A, because it looks good fun, and B, it will help inspire me to clear the painting backlog. I was wondering how long it should go on for. Cheers as always. I think 6 shows, maybe minimum, 5 or 6 shows minimum. I think between 5 and 8 is probably a good number for any kind of series. So, go and definitely go and do it. Let us know how you get on. But you can just keep on going and keep on going and keep on going with Battle Companies. You can do that. So next up we've got Ganalister. Now I actually met Alistair at the Scouring of Stirlingshire, and what a lovely chap he was too. So, Ganalister, hello. Really nice to meet him, and it was his first Hobbit SBG tournament, and he came to Stirling. He's going travelling next year. Hopefully he's going to be back in time for Ardacon, so even though he's going back to university, he is going to be there like all of the rest of you, coming to Ardacon SBG International next October. So you put, hey guys, thanks for the advice. By the time your next Speak Friendly question is up, I'll have met you in Stirling. Well, we certainly did. So I'll need to ask something new about to keep me in the loop. With that in mind, what is your favourite original paint scheme that you've seen? I.e. not from the books, films or standard GW colour schemes. All the best and good luck at the weekend. Ooh. So what's my favourite alternate paint scheme that I've seen? Gosh, that's going to take a little bit of thinking. What have I seen that's like an alternate paint scheme? I really like Barry O'Neill's sort of cream and purple, so he had like ivory and purple Haradrim army, like sort of coming away from the black and reds. I thought that was quite unique and very, very nice. What else? What else have I seen that I can't really think. I think that's probably about it. That's probably the one that kind of pops out in my mind as being, a very alternate paint scheme. I really liked Jan Luktenberg from Rotterdam. I really love his like Dutch dwarves, so he had like all the orange in there. That was really cool. Beautiful army as well, absolutely beautiful. So Jan, if you're watching that, that's one of my favourites too. Great question, Ganalis there, and look forward to you commenting next week. So next up we've got Robert Camp. Robert Camp has put, "Hi guys, thanks for the advice last week. This week, talk to me about bow limits and Riders of Rohan. I heard you say that they are equipped with a bow in their war gear already. Can they all fire their bows, or is it still only 33% of them? And how does this work with throwing weapons as well?" So I'll start with that one because you've got a couple of questions here. Riders of Rohan have been FAQ'd that they can take 100% bows. So that's, there you go. You can take 100% bows. I'm not sure how that used to work. I think it was that you couldn't take an all-mounted just rider army. You had to take like Royal Guard and, you know, Sons just to even it up. I don't think you could choose. Could you choose to not have a bow? I don't think you could. So they have been FAQ'd that Riders of Rohan don't count towards your overall bow limit. You know, in any way, shape or form. Same with like Rivendell Knights and Mirkwood Rangers as well. So your next question is also a non-gaming question here. I've just been very surprised at the new Bullet for My Valentine album. What music are you guys into, and what's your favourite current album? As always, thanks and keep up the good work. My favourite current album. I have to confess to you, I can't remember the last time I bought an album. Because the issue is, like, with modern technology, like in the gym, for example, like we have Spotify. So I think the closest thing I could say is, you know, the stuff that we've got on there. And then we don't really play albums, we play playlists that have got a certain theme. So, lately, I'm not sure any new stuff. A lot of it's stuff that's quite old, you know. I can't think of any new album. I'm sorry. I mean, I love music. That's not that I don't like music, but I think I'm so reliant on Spotify and stuff now. Jamie would probably be better person for that question. So sorry he's not here. So next up, as you can see, my backs are developing even more. By the end of this video, in 10 minutes, I'll just be a skull. And you've got one more question here, Robert. You've put, one more question. Last week's news, what do you think will happen model-wise? Do you think we'll see some out-of-production models back, or do you think it may be new models altogether? Well, I've already answered that one before, what I think that we'll see. But thank you very much for getting in the triple loop, and make sure you ask a question next week. Okay, so we've got two more questions. So first up, we've got Stephen Gill. He's put, hopefully I'm in time for this week's Speedrunning question. I've just heard your comments about BBC's Last Kingdom. You made me realise why the show felt a little sterile. I always felt the books were ripe for turning into TV. Most of the battles didn't involve large numbers, so no exotic locations to find. I think the internal monologues were vital to bring Uhtred and his Weltanschauung or worldview to bring in the whole period to life. Cornwall had him remembering and reflecting on events as an old man. I will still watch the series and enjoy it, but nagging the feeling that with a bit of clever writing, some element of it could have been brought in. So this is something that Jamie said, that it's those inner monologues that really make a big difference. As for the Star Wars risk, have a look on Board Game Geek. It's not the regular retheming run times, only 30 to 60 minutes, which means you don't have to commit lots of time or leave it set. Even board shapes is unique. It's also easy to pimp up with some more minis. As for SBG, do you think we're going to look at a new rulebook with the release of Middle-earth SBG? Well, like I say, I personally don't think we'll get Middle-earth SBG. I don't think that's... I'm trying to look at it from a business point of view. I just don't think they'll do it. But anyway, yeah, I'll go and check out Board Game Geek. It's always good to learn and sort of see what styles of back rep are out there. And like I say, especially for Hotgates Gaming, I want to do a bunch of board game stuff. I know Jamie likes board game stuff, so he might do some stuff on here. So finally, we've got Larry Miller. I'm going to come in under an hour. So there you go. That's me after having 6 hours sleep, just trying to get some content for you guys late on a Sunday evening / early Monday morning. So Larry Miller has put, based on recent developments, if we do get some kind of box game based on some part of Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, Adventures of Tom Bombadil or other Tolkien work, what scene would you most like to see? I'd either like the Battle of Five Armies for all the dwarves we never got, or Amon Hen, as that's a cool iconic scene and it could potentially have some interesting mechanics. If someone else has already asked a similar question, my question instead will be, what is your favourite kind of cheese? Favourite kind of cheese, let's answer that first. I really like a good red Leicester, or like a double Gloucester, but we don't tend to get that because Jane doesn't really like that as much. So we tend to get like a Tor Valley cheddar or something like that for home. But I used to eat a lot of cottage cheese and stuff. I love halloumi. I really like halloumi. Cheese is for winners. I love cheese. Very good for you as well. Incredibly calorific, but in small amounts, it's so good for you, so full of so many important amino acids and stuff so that the body needs. And I think like cheese, if I've got a cheese board, I really like a bit of brie. Can be quite nice. So yeah, iconic scenes. I see what you mean. Like an Amon Hen standalone game, I think could be quite cool because it's very iconic, isn't it? Yeah, doing that as a board game with minis, that would be cool. And like you say, Battle of Five Armies, that's a bit of a given. I think that could work really, really, really well. What else could you do? You could also do like a Battle of Pelennor Fields or something along those lines. I'd like to see a lot of like more historical Middle-earth things that cover bits of the appendices that you don't see in the movies, but I don't think that's going to happen. So yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think Amon Hen is incredibly iconic, and it'd be quite an easy box set to do. You just get the seeing seat. You've got the Fellowship minus Gandalf. And you've got like your alerts, and you probably wouldn't have alerts if they're not doing movie IP. But let's say you had alerts and you had all the Uruk-hai scouts, and obviously you got Boromir, and you could definitely set up a board game kind of situation or a standalone game that would work quite well. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go for. It's reasonably solid. So guys, I hope you enjoyed me squeezing in Speak Friendly Question for you guys. I'm sorry that I am whispering. I'm sorry that it is 1 o'clock in the morning after a tournament. I'm sorry that this is getting to you late. I'm sorry for lots and lots of reasons. But I love you guys. I love doing this channel. So I thought we can't miss Speak Friendly Question. Just can't do it. So guys, don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe. Make sure that you back your channel hosts by checking out the links in the video descriptions below, as well as like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. Support your Hobbit hobby, and guys, happy strategy battle gaming. I'm going to bed.